Hello, hello. Oh, come on. Okay, what was I? Ooh, you know what I just remembered? That I wanted to restart this computer. Of course, I just remembered that right now. We're not going to, though. We're gonna thug this thing on out, baby. Doo 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 doo. Okay. Hello, hello. Okay, let me get myself together. As usual, I hope you're having a great day. It is hot. Actually, I don't even know if I've been outside earlier. Yeah, it was bad. I know it was hot yesterday. Ooh, baby, it's been hot. I got to water my plants more frequently because they barely survive in this little heat. Um, but it is, I love the summer. I am team hot all day. I don't like it when it's cold. My body hurt when it's cold. I am not having fun if it's cold outside. Um, okay, so it is Thursday, which means it is our Sex Tech Thursday. So on Thursdays, we discuss new and up and coming technologies in sexuality, the way things are evolving, and how that has a play on how we exist right now. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So today we're specifically discussing pH balancing lubes, but we're going to go through what pH balance is, and then we'll kind of go talk a little bit about the lubes, because I don't want to just kind of throw you into talking about pH balance and lubes. Let's talk about what it is, what pH balance is, what it does, and how it like affects the body and stuff like that. We're gonna ease into it, okay? I'm not just gonna push you in the pool, okay? So that's what we're gonna be talking about today. So let's get our screen shared here. Oh, that's what I wanted. So before we talk about pH balancing lubes, let me explain what pH balance is so that you know why this information is important. Oh, after we talk about this, go through this, you will be able to identify the pH range of a vagina and semen. List two symptoms of vaginitis and name two or more ways to maintain a healthy vaginal microbiome. So I also took this picture. Where were we at? Was this in San Pedro? This might have been in San Pedro. Sunrise. Yeah. All right. So, sorry, I gotta do this. I already put it in my mouth like That's why I put straws in, because I'm country and I'll eat the ice if it go in my mouth. What is potential hydrogen or pH balance? pH balance denotes the acidity or alkalinity of a basic substance, also known as an acid-base balance. The human body ranges from 7.35 to 7.45. The average pH is 7.40. There are multiple microbiomes in the body, and so they all carry different pHs. So, your mouth and your vagina and your, armpits and all these other places may carry a different potential hydrogen balance as you move throughout the body. Vaginal pH. The normal vaginal pH ranges between 3.8 and 5.0, which is considered moderately acidic. So that's going to be right off in here, okay? Right in between these two on the scale. A neutral pH is considered a 7. So, that's right in the middle. Normal semen pH ranges between 7.2 and 8.0, which is slightly alkaline. So you're looking at between here and here, 7.2 and 8.0. So, your weird vaginas are over here, and the vaginal microbiome's over here, and semen, which goes inside the vaginal microbiome, is over here. So you can see how those changes could have an effect if the body is creating those environments to keep the body healthy, introducing different types of environments, or there are things that can throw that balance off and have you on a different part of the scale. Vaginal flora changes often. During pregnancy, hormone changes affect the bacterial balance of the vagina. During your monthly menses, the pH balance of the vagina changes to accommodate the moist environment of the period. So we know that the vaginal fluids change when the body is preparing for ovulation. So usually we talked about this a couple days ago. The fluid changes to a thicker viscosity. It changes in pH balance to make the environment more welcoming to sperm. Well, during your monthly cycle, when you have blood and other wet objects, coming from that area, having that environment, having a wet, moist, hot environment that has bacteria growing in there is the perfect environment for a bacterial imbalance. And so the body changes during the monthly cycle to accommodate the extra moistness that's going to be down there because the cycle is going on. So it actually shifts itself during that period as well. Unprotected sex. The vagina creates an environment designed to help sperm and rogue bacteria thrive. So unprotected sex is which is a slightly alkaline condition. It seems to stimulate human sperm motility. And motility is the way the sperm moves through the fluid. So when you see the remnants of an orgasm, only a small portion of that fluid is actually sperm. A lot of it is, glucose and other things to just help to feed the sperm along the way, to help it stay mobile and help increase its motility, its ability to move. So, unprotected sex can change that environment. Medications, specifically antibiotics, can disrupt the vaginal flora. The antibiotics, when they're ingested, they are used to kill bacteria in the body. Those bacteria in the body, even the good ones, if you get caught in the drive-by of that medication. So if you do take an antibiotic, you do have a higher probability, if you do have a vagina, of experiencing a yeast infection because you have killed off the flora that's there, and so it has to grow back, and sometimes it comes back. One of them can grow, one of the bacteria can grow more rapidly than the other, and it could create a yeast infection, um, even though you're taking medicine to cure something else. Menopause. So, decreased access to estrogen can have an effect on the vaginal flora. Stress and sickness affects immune health and the body's ability to fight infection. So, if you do not have if your body is, if everybody, all of the workers, the employees of your body are over here tinkering on this piece that you need, that they're trying to patch up, it's going to make it more susceptible for other infections to come in and wreak havoc on the body. So being stressed depletes the immune system, but also there are certain type of sicknesses that can affect the immune system, and that will in turn affect your body's ability to fight off any infections that you may have, incurred during the time frame. A few other things can throw off your vaginal microbiome, like medications, antibiotics being introduced to other microbiomes, aka cheating. Um, so if your body has a certain environment, right? When you think about an environment that you have to keep at homeostasis. So think about having like one of those little biodomes. Then inside of that biodome, everybody is working together. You need things that create air. You need things that, do this and do cleaning. And in that little bubble, you have to create a world that gives that environment everything it needs. If you don't do that and something is missing, that microbiome won't flourish. Okay. So if it has, if you're not cleaning it properly and it has mold, or you don't have a cleaning system set up, if it's not aerated properly, all those types of things can change that microbiome. Introducing another microbiome to your microbiome is also going to do that. So having, a different vaginal flora, introducing a different vaginal flora to the vaginal flora that's already there, could cause your body to throw off, your balance, your pH balance to be thrown off. Other things that can throw your pH balance off are sexual activity. Sexual activity, specifically if you're doing things with your hands and you are not cleaning under your nails and you're introducing other bacteria that don't belong in that area into the vaginal canal. You could be bringing in things under your fingernails. You could be bringing in different bacteria from your saliva, just depending on what you have and what you got going on. So there are so many things that can affect the way the body keeps that bowl in homeostasis. So we have to, it could be a lot of different things that could be causing those types of issues. And that you may have to go through more than one remedy to try to figure out what it is that's causing your issues. All right. Vaginitis, an inflammation or infection of the vagina. The common vaginal microbiome, the lactobacilli species, controls and kills rogue other bacteria in the vagina. Lactobacilli can produce an acidic environment in the vagina, which is designed to protect women from sexually transmitted pathogens and opportunistic infections. If these normal flora, such as lactobacilli, are absent or significantly reduced, the vaginal ecosystem becomes imbalanced and other microorganisms or bacteria inside the vagina may become overgrown, leading to vaginitis. Jeez, okay. So let's talk about Trichomoniasis. Trichomoniasis. Let's see what it says. You think it'll say it? It's probably not going to say it. Trichom. Let's go see if we can find it. Let's see if we can remember how to spell it. Oh, can I pull it out of here? Nope. I'm not even going to pretend like I know how to spell it, because I don't. Trichomoniasis, I believe. Let's see what they say. Did I spell it right? Trick. Oh, I was like,
Trichomoniasis.
girl, I don't think that's how that's said. Well, it's trick, and if you've ever heard of different types of sexually transmitted infections, I thought it was trichomoniasis. Trichomonas vaginalis. Trichomonasis. That's probably what it is. Um, uh, yeah, Trichomonas vaginalis is the actual bacteria that causes it. Anyway, see, we done went off on a tangent. Is a sexually transmitted infection caused by a single cell parasite. Yeast infection occurs when too much candida grows in the vagina. Candida is a yeast, which is a type of fungus frequently present in the vagina. Bacteria vaginosis, or BV, occurs when there are too many harmful bad bacteria and too few protective good bacteria in the vagina. So, and the BV, the Gardnerella vaginalis, the bacteria that causes BV, is not necessarily bad. It's just that when it overgrows, it is what causes that fishy odor, and that's what you'll start to have symptoms from. Symptoms of maybe a pH balance that's not on track. Unusual thickness or color of discharge. So if you're noticing that you have a really thick, kind of snotty type of discharge, or it's like a different color, you're looking at greens or other like colors that are off in there, that may be a sign. If you're experiencing burning, itching, odor, or irritation. Again, most of these types of things, BV, yeast infection, um, those are things that specifically do with the vaginal flora that don't necessarily have anything to do with sex. It's just that the microbiome gets knocked off, and that's what it is. And sex is one of the ways that it can get knocked off, and some sexually transmitted infections can knock it off. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be having sex for your pH balance to be knocked off. That is not true. Maintain your balance. What can we do? How can we keep it on flow for what it needs to do? First, you're going to urinate directly after sex. Urinating directly after sex removes any kind of bacteria that may have been shoved up in different places. And it also rids your body of any excess of things that may have been left over from that sex, and just gives your body the best opportunity to be able to reset without being overtaken. So urinate directly after sex. You should urinate before and after sex, just to clear out the urethra, because you can get a urinary tract infection if something finds its way up in the urinary tract, which, if you think about the missionary position and how you have sex, and that space being open as it usually is, and what's going on down there, you do have the possibility to push bacteria up the urethra during sexual activity. Read detergent labels and hand wash your undergarments. Your detergents can throw off the pH balance of a vagina, Different types of soaps can, lotions, any materials that you may be using. If you are a wax girly, that could have an effect if you have certain types of allergies and things like that. So make sure that you're reading any labels that are going against that area of your body so that you know what's actually in your, in the stuff that you're using. Use barrier protection or the pull out method. Now, the barrier protection is to protect you from getting pregnant and getting STIs. For people who are in long term relationships and who have gone through the means, who are trying to get pregnant or who are just struggling with reoccurring bacterial infections or reoccurring BV, the pull out method is a way that you can reduce the acidity that you are emptying into the vaginal canal. So you would only have to worry with what you're actually using during the time that you're having intercourse versus the release and the flood of chemicals that could potentially throw that pH balance off. You can also protect from that as an option if you are using barrier protection. So if you are using a condom for the vulva or if you are using a condom for the penis, either one of those are great ways to ensure that the body has a fighting chance to reset itself when it needs to. And that could happen, if you are couples who have sex frequently. Again, the pH balance of this is on this end and the pH balance of this is on this end. And so if you are frequently having sex, you could frequently be throwing that vaginal flora off and be creating issues. And so pulling out is one of the ways that you can give your body a chance to reset if it needs to get that vaginal flora back in. You don't have to do it all the time, but it is one of the ways that you can help to stop the reoccurring bacterial infections. Avoid harsh soaps, detergents, fabric softeners, and etc. down there. Okay, you don't need a lot of the stuff that is manufactured. If you are having issues with odors and things like that, there is usually something that is going on inside of the vagina. Okay. Of course, the vulva can be dirty. You can be sweaty. You could be musty down there, those types of things. But if you are experiencing issues with odors, because the vagina is a self-cleaning mechanism. It already has a built-in system. You don't even have to push the button to get it to start. It has a built-in system. Your discharge is constantly flushing out things that it doesn't need from that area. And that is the job of that discharge. And so if you are using things that are cleaning down there, you're likely not solving the problem. You're likely making it worse. Because if it's something that is a bacterial imbalance, adding those harsh soaps and those detergents and all those things aren't going to help it. Dishing with all that flavored stuff and doing all that stuff and putting all that those different types of chemicals in there is not going to necessarily help if the issue that you're having is on a bacterial level. Now, of course, those types of things can help with the symptoms if you're using, say, like, what's it called when they do the little pots? Those are good for easing pain symptoms. I can't think of what it's called now. The word is right there. Yoni steams. So there are people who do yoni steams and say that they are good for you're not actually injecting anything, of course, into the vaginal canal, but you are opening up the uterus and the vaginal area and allowing steam and different herbs and things to help with pain. It's just kind of like putting a water bottle over your stomach to help with cramps. And so that is a thing that people do, but there shouldn't be anything going in and you shouldn't be using anything to cleanse yourself if you are experiencing issues down there. A lot of those things that are created we all know that are not necessarily good for the vagina. So just be mindful of, what you're putting on the skin down there. And even if you never had a problem before, know that as you get older, things change, your body changes. You get allergies. I never had allergies, so I was like 35. I told them people that was in there making stuff up. Like, I am dark skinned. What do you mean that I have allergies? I am one with the earth. I am part native. Like, what do you mean? So, it is, yeah, it is. So just, be mindful of that, because it can change. You can absolutely develop allergies to something you didn't have allergies to before. And practice stress management, which I know is always like, people are just like, oh, practice stress management. People need to stop practicing stressing you too. Like, I get that. I get that. But I want you to really take in what it means, how stress can wreak havoc on the body. People are just now realizing, that people who are chronically stressed or chronically overwhelmed or have a higher propensity for autoimmune diseases. So, because of that, specifically, women have higher instances of getting arthritis and having other autoimmune issues because of stress that is like being kept in the body. And so, stress management is super important to a lot of your healthy activities, but it's also super important to your sexual wellness, because you can't be open and ready to receive good, positive sexual experiences if you are overwhelmed, if you are on high alert, if you are, I call it blues and twos, when you just feel like your skin is like radiating with so much energy. And just because, like, that's what stress is what it does. What are you supposed to do if you don't have money, if you have to figure it out? Like, you're going to be stressed. So but I would like for you to practice stress management, not saying that you shouldn't be stressed, but practice ways that feel good to you on how to manage your stress so that it doesn't throw off your um pH balance. And again, like, that's something that you don't think has anything to do with that other thing, but here we are. Here we are, stressed and everything else. So definitely put some good stress management tips in your repertoire. What else can you do? Okay. Limit the number of sexual partners and always practice safe sex. Again, those microbiomes can mix and match. And, if you're dating casually and the people that you're dating are also dating casually, you're looking at a lot of mixing and dipping and those kind of things. So, make sure you're just using your protection and um, limit the number of partners that you're coming in contact with in that way. Avoid douching. Okay, douching is going to cause you to have additional bacteria. If you have issues with bacteria, you can move it further up into the vaginal canal. Now, we did talk yesterday about the research on this, and medically, they do not encourage douching from the medical standpoint. But douching is very popular in Afro and Afro Caribbean communities, and we do not want to negate the many years of history that those people have put into the system as well. And so the medical system is absolutely right. You can flush bacteria the up into the uterus and cause additional problems. But also, many communities have been practicing this type of behavior, for many years. And so, depending on what you're putting up there, because some of that stuff that is in there, just talk to your grandma. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm not a medical professional, but talk to your grandma. She'll tell you what need to go in there and what don't. Limit wearing clothes that hug the body and encourage a warm, moist environment. Again, that's exactly what yeast and other bacteria need to thrive. It needs to be warm, it needs to be moist, and they need to be in the building. And you've got the perfect environment for a bacterial overgrowth. So, make sure that you are giving your body a chance to breathe. I know that everybody's wearing the cool new, spandex underwear and all that stuff now, but this is for penis holders and vulva holders. Everybody needs to be wearing some big old drawers that are breathy and comfy and that are full cotton. Okay, get you a big old pair of cotton drawers and just make sure that you can wear those other underwear too, but you need to be giving your body parts, that especially the body parts that are warm and moist throughout most of the day. You want to make sure you're giving those body parts air and room to breathe, okay? Like they tell you to do the tomato plants. You want to make sure that you are trimming them out, making sure air can move through, and that you are not, crowding it out and just letting that hot, moist air stick in there and keeping the party going for the bacteria. Wash your vulva, okay? Yes, wash your vulva, wash your private parts, because your body is exuding all of its toxins and everything that it doesn't need throughout the day. Your skin is the biggest muscle that you have, and it is filled with sweat glands, and those sweat glands are leaching the toxins out of your body, the things that it doesn't need, and it is letting it go through sweat and other particles, and you can accumulate those things on your pelvic region if you are not washing and exfoliating properly. So make sure that you are, washing your bits and, exfoliating once a week to make sure that you're getting all your dead skin and cleaning out your pores and things down there. You have hair down there, and that hair grows out of pores, and it's sweaty and it's hot. And if you're giving this treatment to the hair on your head, you need to be giving that treatment okay. I need new friends, man. Okay. So, in conclusion, you let that thing breathe, okay? Sleep a couple nights with no underwear on. Get you along some long pajamas, or get you some pants if you're uncomfortable. Get you some pajama pants or whatever. But you do not need to be wearing underwear 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You do not need to be wearing a bra 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because you need to let those spaces breathe. Air needs to be able to move through there. You need to let it get some oxygen, okay? Because oxygen is the antithesis of bacterial growth, okay? We need air to keep it down. All right, on our bodies, not for other instances, for our bodies, okay? So that is your pH balance. That's what it is. That's why it's important. You are looking at an environment that we need to keep healthy, so that when you are ready to make a child, that it has all the optimal pieces in place to be able to give you the perfect pregnancy. The baby latches on there and gets all the things it needs, all that stuff. But if that environment is not conducive to the sperm in that way, you will notice that it can be more difficult to obtain pregnancy and can have an effect on your fertility. So that's why this is important. Okay, so when we talk about lube and vaginal health, I found this really good article on pH balancing lubes. Now, these people are absolutely trying to sell their product, okay? Let me say that. But that's not why we're here to buy the product. We're here because there is some really good information in this article about how it happens, what you're looking at, and why lubes that work with the pH are so important. So, potential for hydrogen, or pH, is a way of rating solutions on a scale as acidic, neutral, or basic, depending on the amount of hydrogen ions present. Acidic solutions are at the low end of the range, 0.6. Neutral solutions like pure water are 7, and basic solutions are higher on the scale, 8 to 14. So, what does pH have to do with lube? Lubricants that contain any water at all can be rated by their pH and have the potential to interfere with vaginal pH, which may lead to irritation, increase the risk of infections, and cause unusual vaginal discharge. Okay? So, if you are using a water based lube, water has a pH, and that pH is different than the pH in a vagina. And so, it has the potential to throw off the microbiome if you are using water based lubricants. Another important characteristic of lube is the osmolality. Osmolality. That feels like a weird word, which refers to the concentration of all the chemical particles found in a fluid. High osmolality. Okay, I am not tripping. It is 2 L's in there. Osmolality means that there are many particles in a fluid, and low osmolality means the fluid is more diluted. Let's see how the people say it. I feel like I'm saying it right, but I still don't feel like the lady said
Osmolality.
Oh, I said it right. Osmolality. One study tested and compared the pH and osmolality of common used lubricants. Most of the lubricants range between 3.0 pH to 5.7 pH. And now remember, let's go back to our go. Oh, there we are. So they said 3.7 to 5. So most lubes should be into here. But the osmolality between lubes vary greatly between brands, with lower concentrations of this was molality. I looked it up. Molality, measure of osmolality or kilograms. Okay. Means the fluid is more diluted. Oh, that's not where I am. To high concentration. So you have lower concentrations of 298 osmolality to high concentrations of 3,797. So let's talk about what these numbers mean for your vaginal health. What to know about vaginal health. Vaginal and sexual health are extremely important and closely related to fertility, pregnancy, and more. A healthy vagina has a somewhat acidic pH between 3.8 and 4.5. Vaginal fluid with an osmolality of around 370 kilograms will produce cervical mucus regularly. It's normal for cervical mucus to change in texture, amount, and color throughout the menstrual cycle, but should not be foul-smelling, green, yellow. Some healthy mucus can have a slight yellow color or accompanied with pain or discomfort. The vagina is a strong muscular canal, but can also be rather sensitive when it comes to pH, period products, hygiene products, and sexual activity. So, can lube mess up your pH balance? Lube and other products can absolutely have an impact on your natural pH balance. The vaginal pH usually ranges between 3.8 and 4.5 that helps fight off unhealthy bacteria and yeast from causing infection. Basic products with pH values above 7 can cause an imbalance and increase the vaginal pH. When the pH is increased too much, unhealthy bacteria and yeast can grow more easily and may result in infection, uncomfortable symptoms, and more. To prevent this, opt for a lube with a pH of 7 or lower. So, we looked at what the pH balance is. Here we are on the schedule. They said we need something 7 or lower. Okay? 7 or lower. And the osmolality, did I just make that word up? osmolality, osmolality. The osmolality can have an effect on how effective the pH balance is at keeping that lubrication to closer to its natural level. The best way to promote vaginal health when using any product, including lube, is to make sure the product is free of parabens, glycerin, and other added ingredients. A study found that water-based lubricants are the best choice for lowering the chance of genital symptoms and were rated one of the highest for sexual pleasure and satisfaction. Okay? So we're talking about water-based lubricants with a lower osmolality. So, because the higher osmolalities, let's go back up and let me make sure I'm saying this right. Yes. So a vaginal fluid with an osmolality of around 307 kilograms will produce cervical mucus regularly. So if that's what the 370 is, the regular cycle of where they're looking for, something that's 3,797 is going to cause an issue. So we were looking for something with a low pH and a lower osmolality. The World Health Organization recommends lubricants with an osmolality below 1,200 kilograms and pH levels 7 and below. So that gives us a good number to go by: 1,200 kilograms, and a pH level 7 and below. This is vital for protecting the vagina from epithelial damage and maintaining a healthy pH to protect and prevent infection. Okay? So that gives us an idea. So here's we have more. Let's read this. Lubes and fertility for the people who are trying to conceive. The lube you're using can also play a big role in fertility. Research done at Harvard University shows that lubricants made with parabens may be linked to infertility, including diminished ovarian reserve. Most lubes are not formulated to support sperm health or fertility. So if you are trying to conceive, you should be very cautious about what lube you're using. Many popular retail lubes have been shown to hurt sperm motility and vitality, so hurt the way sperm move through and the health of the sperm as it moves through, cause DNA fragmentation, and more. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration have actually created specific criteria for fertility-friendly lubricants that are safe to use while trying to conceive and during pregnancy. These products must be made to be compatible with sperm and embryo health, like this product, I guess the lube. So there are FDA recommended lubes that you could use if you are trying to conceive, because other lubes do not take into fertility and sperm vitality into their production. So regular lubes don't care about those types of things. If you're trying to conceive, those things are super important. So just make sure you're looking at what you're trying to use, what you need it for, and doing what we need to do. So let's talk about lubes. I went through trying to figure out how to test or how to find out, because when you click on these articles, they don't, or these things, they just say that they're pH balance friendly, but I was not able to find what the pH balance was for the lubricants. I clicked on a couple of them. I went through like 5, and I was not able to find an actual pH. Let me look at this one. Did I click on this already? Where are the details? Oh, this is a boric acid moisturizing gel. So this is more for moisture renewal and elasticity of the vagina with boric acid, hyaluronic acid, and vitamin E. This one-of-a-kind gel promotes the reduction of dryness and discomfort, leaving you to feel more confident and comfortable. But it does not say what the, like, they don't tell you what the pH balance actually is. So for water-based lubricants, you can um, for water-based lubricants you can use the test strips, the pH test strips. And these, you can find these plenty of places. You can use these to like test your water and all that stuff. So these test strips, you can get, and you can, if it's a water-based lubricant, you can use this to test. I don't think it does not work on oil-based. You have to get like a pH tester for for let me see. I think that was telling me how to do regular lube. Like, I am not a pilot. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know. What did I see? Oh, what do I do? What do I do? pH test. How about that? Right. Ah, so that is what they said, that some lubricants, so water-based lubricants do have an effect, but if it doesn't have water in it, it does not have a pH balance. So it's usually typically neutral. Now, again, we're talking about lubricants, but um the type of lubricant you need for different issues is a whole different conversation. Um what did we do with it? So whatever type of activity that you're um engaging in, is it this one? Nope. Oh, sorry. That was a Oh, that was it. Um that was a one we were doing about toys. So, barrier contraceptives. Oh no, this is not it. We're looking for lubricants, not you. Where are you? Uh, I don't know. I know one of these is um about lubrication, but I don't know what it is. But we'll have to have that conversation another day because I don't want to go off on a tangent on that on lubricants. But we have so if it is water based, it will have a it can be tested for the pH balance. Again, they said water-based has the fewest and has the best rating for the fewest issues and the best rating for sexual health and pleasure. So that's a good place to start. But depending on the type of activity that you're using, you need to make sure that you're using the right kind of lube as well, because different types of lubes break down different types of condoms, so on and so forth. So you want to make sure that we're not using the wrong kind of lube for the activity and the barrier method that we have chosen for the evening. So, but having access to pH balancing lubrications is going to make it easier for people who are trying to conceive, because you don't have something that's fighting against the process, and that's not what you need. We don't need no fighting against the process. So you have the option of getting a lubrication that works with the body and that works with what you're trying to do and can help you to stop throwing off that microbiome, if that is the reason that it's being thrown off, right? If any of the reasons that we listed, if it's sexual activity, if it's soap or whatever, going through the motions and figuring it out is worth it to figure out what's causing the reoccurring pH issues. And there's always things that we can do. There's always things that we could do. So if we just need to get it back in order, then we just have to figure out what's throwing it off, what is causing the issues with the pH to start with, and what is potentially causing the symptoms that are giving you issues, what's feeding those symptoms. And so it could be a bunch of things. It could be diet, it could be exercise. If you exercise and you don't take your you leave your clothes on, if you swim and you leave your clothes on, and now you have this super moist environment that's not really getting a lot of air. If you are in a bigger body and you have more folds and you have a less opportunity for air to move through down there, you could be more susceptible to pH balance issues. So just be mindful of your body and what you're trying to use, and how you can keep yourself as healthy as possible and keep yourself open to being able to experience sexual activity. Because if you are experiencing pH balance issues, it can have more than effect on your vagina. It can have an effect on your mental health. It can have an effect on your anxiety. It can have an effect on, it could throw you into a depression. So there are things to be worried about. We're not just, I'm not just on your head. It could be on your head. There are things to be worried about if you are having those types of issues, because it could cause you to feel other ways about yourself, which could cause you to do some things that, could cause you to see yourself in a light that is not necessarily true. So make sure you're talking to your doctor. Make sure you're getting the help that you need. Keep a diagnosis of your symptoms, when they're happening during the month, how strong they are, what the odor. Try to be as specific as possible on each of those details, so that when you take them into your physician, you can give them an idea and give them some data and some homework to go on. This is what's happening. This is what I've recorded so far. Can you tell me what's causing this? Why would this be happening? And just having that ammo makes it feel a lot more comfortable to have the conversation around it. And also, don't feel any type of way about needing to use lubrication. The body changes throughout the month. It changes throughout life. It changes even in the moment, just based on what you need. If y'all are having a quickie and you don't have 10 minutes, then you don't have 10 minutes. And so, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't have sex if you have the 10 minutes. So lubrication has its place. It is a necessary and needed part of our journey into sexuality and sexual growth, and there is not a circumstance where I would I could see there not being a need for lubrication in the home. I don't see that. There's so many different things that you can do and so many different ways that you can play with lubrication that there's no need that you should, feel like I don't even want that in the house because who needs that? Like you should need it. There should be opportunities where you need it. And again, when you talk about not using it and starving yourself of that avenue, you are creating an environment in your vagina that is going to be off. The pH balance is going to be off more frequently. Um, if you are starving yourself of that and you're, still going about or pretending it's not an issue, you can cause tears, epithelial tears. You can cause um, irritation, inflammation, all types of things. So those things are not necessary to have to go through just to, prove that, you got the water park. You can have the water park next week. You can have the water park when you have an ample amount of time to, open up the gates and clean up and turn all the lights on and make sure the air conditioner is running in the places they need to be running and that, that all the boogie boards are out. When you got time to do that, absolutely water park it up. But if you don't have time to do that, you should not be torturing yourself trying to push through it when lubrication is freely available. Like, it's not a new thing. You don't have to wait to see, it's not in the in its alpha and beta testing. Like, we are years in the game at this point, and there are plenty of new technologies associated with lubrication and the type of things that you can use to make your sex life better. Okay. All right. Let's look at the rest of the schedule for the week. I am not going to give you any recommendations because I don't have them and people don't pay me for that. So I'm just going to, I taught you how to do your research. You know what to look for. Get into them details. Get into the work, and you'll be able to find out what you need for your body. Okay. And don't be afraid to go ask for help if you're not sure what's going on. We could talk about it. You can hop in my inbox at any time. I do not do not mind at all. Let's chop it up. All right. So for the rest of the week, today was Sex Tech Thursday, so we have pH balancing smart lubes. For Friday, we have Late Night with Coach Katasha, which is just going to be a late night chat with me. And we're just going to come in and talk about stuff, different sexual stuff of sexual nature, what's going on in pop culture right now, what are the people talking about, what's going on, and we're going to have some stuff to talk about. So make sure you tune in tomorrow, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you do have any questions or anything that you would like to address, you can send any questions to expressionoverrepression@gmail.com. You can also send them to the website, which is, of course, expressionoverrepression.com. You can find me on any of my social medias. I have Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all that stuff. So send me a message on LinkedIn, whatever you feel, and I can pull it out and I will bring it back to the chat and we can discuss it. Our regular weekly schedule is going to be Mondays. It's going to be Sex Ed with Coach Katasha at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. On Tuesday, we do Pleasure Tools Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And Pleasure Tools Tuesday is first of all, Sex Ed with Coach Katasha is just our basic sex education classes. It's going to be us talking about, different things that go on with the body, things that come up often, and things that I'm commonly asked about to bring to you to just kind of have the conversation about, so that that these things exist. Regular stuff, menopause, periods, erectile dysfunction, low libido, stuff like that. Okay. On Tuesday, we do Pleasure Tools Tuesday, which is our stream that is dedicated to bringing external tools into the bedroom to use in a safe and erotic way, and just kind of demystifying toys and other objects and other ways that we use to spice up the bedroom and kind of help get over that hump of, you know, why would we need this here? What are we doing this here for? I mean, it's a room, so we're doing it in the room because that's what the room is for. But people sometimes have aversions to like role play, toys, different things like that, and so we cover how to do those things, why they are important, stuff like that. And then on Wednesdays, Ask Coach Katasha, which is our live Q&A. You can stop by and chat and ask any of your sexual health questions, and we will answer. I'll answer them live. No judgment, no nothing, no tea, no shade. It is, I want you to have fun. So my job is to make sure that you're doing it safely and make sure that everybody's having fun. That's all I'm required to do. So you can stop in Wednesday at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thursdays, of course, is Sex Tech Thursdays, where we discuss new technologies in sexuality and how they can be used and how it can help. It can help going up with the future. Like, what are we looking at? The future of sex tech, pretty much. And then again, Friday is Late Night with Coach Katasha at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. So you can pick any of those days. Make sure that you are following us on YouTube and on Twitch so that you can have our notification when I go live. And just so you know what's going on, and make sure that if you see a show that you don't want to miss, that you put that on your calendar. Make sure you're following us on your socials as well. I'm pretty much Coach Katasha on everything. You can search me up. It's either Coach Katasha or Expression of Repression. You'll find me. And, follow me, because there'll be the updates that you're looking for if I'm not going to be here, or, whatever's going on. That's where you'll see it at. So make sure you follow me on my socials. Let me put my link tree in here so you can find me if you need me. No, what you doing all the way up there? I need to change these batteries before I throw this. How about that? There's my link tree. So you can come on my link tree. You can find me, find all of my socials, all of my books, everything that I have, you'll find on there. So, go be nosy, poke around, see what you can find, and, just make sure that you are following us so that you can see when we do go live. All right. Okay, that is it for today. I'm going to see you here tomorrow at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time for Late Night